All right, if you want to know how the best local businesses are winning in 2026, then here's what most business owners have not realized yet. It's that you are invisible to the people who want to buy from you, and not because your competition is any better than you. It's because you're not showing up where their attention is right now. And most business owners think they have a lead problem, when in reality, it's just an awareness problem. You just need more people to know, like, and trust you before they're ready to buy. And in this video, I'll break down exactly how the best local businesses are winning right now and how you can do the same to start building trust and attracting those premium buyers without having to chase leads. Because in 2026, there is a massive shift happening. So in this video, here's what we're going to cover together. Number one, the real problem, which is that most local businesses are only competing for 1% of the entire market. And number two, the new approach, which is tapping into that 99% that everyone else is just ignoring. And then number three, how you can start winning in 2026. So let's jump right in with number one, the real problem, which is that most businesses only compete for 1% of their market. The people who are ready to buy cash in hand right now today. And they're getting slapped around by their competition because everyone is fighting over the same 1% of buyers, which really just becomes a race to the bottom. And they're forced to rely on things like discounting their services or limited time offers or any other urgency tactics just to get people to buy right away. Now, the problem with these is that if you're selling a premium service and you want to actually attract high value buyers to that premium service, well, these tactics don't really attract high value buyers. They just end up attracting price shoppers. And the same thing with the promotional post here is that if every single time you post, you're just telling somebody about a promotion or getting them to take action to book a call with you or to buy your services, you're actually just conditioning those people to ignore you. Because think about it. If you have somebody that comes to your door every single day and they just knock on your door and they try to sell you something, after a couple days, are you going to keep opening the door when they knock on it? Or are you just going to ignore them because you already know that whenever they come to knock, they're just going to try to sell you something? The exact same thing is happening here with these promotional posts. And don't even get me started on the hard selling and all these other high pressure sales tactics, because buyers are getting smart in 2026. They see right through these things. And again, if you're trying to sell a premium service at a high ticket price, that type of buyer is not attracted or not pulled in by high pressure sales tactics or scarcity tactics or urgency tactics. And we're going to go over later on in this video what the high value buyer is actually looking for and the things that will actually attract them to you. So that's the key here, is just being aware of this issue right now going into 2026, because if you're relying on a lot of these things right now, that could be the reason why you're not attracting as many high value buyers as you'd like for your local business. And I get it. This is the game that most business owners are playing right now, and a lot of them are losing because it's so competitive going after this 1%. Whereas what if we just stopped playing that game and went after the other 99% of the market instead? And if you're saying, okay, well, how do we do this? Well, all we have to do is just shift how we think. And if you understand the 5 stages of awareness model, it'll change the game for your marketing and for the type of clients that you actually attract to your business to buy from you. So this is a man by the name of Eugene Schwartz, and he developed a book called Breakthrough Advertising right over here. It was written in 1966. I haven't read the book personally, but I have studied a lot of this concept here that he came up with, which is the 5 stages of awareness. And what this book details is specifically how buyers move from different stages of awareness, like number 1 at the top, being completely unaware that they even have a problem, all the way down to number 5 at the bottom, which is the most aware, which these are people who are actually ready to buy right now, today. And when I talk about that 1% that most businesses are focused on, it is this percent right here, whereas they're missing out on this whole other percentage right here at the top. That's where a majority of the buyers are right now. And what we can actually do with our content and with our marketing is actually raise their awareness and bring people in at the top here, and then actually move them through each stage until they are most aware and actually ready to buy. So if you're wondering, what is this all about? What does this even mean? How does this apply to a local business and their marketing? We just need to understand that most businesses, like I mentioned, are only focused right here on that tiny 1% right at the bottom. This is pretty hard to draw with my mouse, but I'm doing the best I can here. So most businesses are focused right down here. And just by knowing this, we can now see that the biggest opportunity lies in raising the awareness of the other 99% of people that are in stages 1 through 4. Because the more awareness that we build up at the top, the more demand we can actually control when it comes to our services. So as we see here, there are different stages, including problem aware, solution aware, and product aware. And those aren't as important to understand. It's just the fact that there are a percentage of people, and the biggest percentage of people fall under the category of being completely unaware. And the way I like to explain this is I always relate it to the problem that people have. So another mistake that I see a lot of businesses making now is that they only ever talk about the services that they offer. But the most simple shift that you can make when it comes to marketing is, instead of talking about you and talking about your business, just start talking about the problem that your ideal client has. And that way, that will actually get them to pay attention to what you're saying. Because just think about it. If all you ever do is talk about your business and what you offer and everything's about you, well, the end consumer that's going to buy from you, they're more concerned about the problem that they have in their life. So if you just make that shift and start talking about the problem that they have, because chances are, if you provide a service with your business, you are solving a problem for somebody. So if you can just show people that you understand their problem and you have a solution to their problem right down here, and then you position your business and the service that you offer as the product in this scenario, then you can actually raise people's awareness by starting at the top and making them aware that they have a problem. So if we use the example of a chiropractor, so maybe a person just is going about their business, going about their life, nothing is wrong with them, and then out of nowhere, they start getting back pain. And it's just super random, and they're like, what's going on? I don't even know what's happening here. So at that stage where they first develop that back problem and that back pain, they're actually becoming problem aware. And there's multiple ways that they can get to this stage. They can discover it on their own. They can watch a video that talks about, oh, if you sit in a certain way in your chair and you work all day, then that can lead to a certain back pain. So now they're becoming more aware of their problem just by understanding that. And now maybe they go on YouTube or they go on Google and they type in how to fix back pain, right? How to fix random back pain from sitting in a chair all day. And now they're actually becoming aware of all the different solutions there are to that problem. And now maybe they find a specific video on YouTube that talks about a specific stretching routine that you can do to actually solve the problem of that back pain. So now this person who was initially completely unaware at the top has now become aware that they have a problem. They've become aware that there are solutions out there to solve that problem. And now they've actually found a product, which in this case, it could be a service as well. He just uses product for his example, but he's found a service that can actually solve their problem. So to tie this back to what does this even mean when it comes to selling services as a local business? Well, if we're trying to make offers and actually get someone to take action or to book a call or to buy our services, and we're only making that offer to people that are unaware, to people that are just problem aware, people that are just solution aware, or even just product aware, the likelihood of them trusting you enough to solve their problem is going to be lower and lower the higher up we are on this awareness model. But if we can raise people's awareness and move them through each of these stages, by the time that they're most aware, they already know all of these other things. They know that they have a problem. They know that there are solutions out there to solve the problem. And they know that your specific service is one of those solutions to their problem. So what a lot of business owners are doing when they're going after that 1% is they're fighting over all of these people that are most aware right now. Whereas 99% of the market is somewhere within these stages of awareness. But what we can do with our content and with our marketing is actually create content and create marketing messaging that moves people through these stages. So instead of competing over this 1% that's right here at the bottom, like everybody else is, they're using direct offers and they're using the discounts and they're using promotional posts to try to capture that tiny percent of the market that is already most aware. We can just go after the people up here that are completely unaware, and we can raise their awareness and move them down this actual process here until they are at the stage where they are the most aware. And if we are the one to actually move them through each one of those stages, we're going to have built so much trust with those people because we've informed them and educated them about all these other things that happened above here in stages 1 through 4. And now that they're most aware and we present them with an offer for our services, it becomes a no-brainer at that point. So that's the thing here when it comes to marketing, is that a lot of people just don't know this or don't understand this. And that's totally understandable because chances are you're a business owner. You're a professional at the service that you provide, and you don't have time to be learning about this marketing mumbo jumbo. But this is the reality of it, is that if you don't understand this and you're making offers to cold strangers who don't even know you, like you, or trust you, that could be why it's a struggle to actually sell a high ticket service to a buyer who is not at the completely most aware stage at the bottom. So to sum all this up, what does this even mean in plain English? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Instead of just waiting for buyers to come and find you, you can just go get their attention and then you can guide them down each one of these stages. So how does one actually do this? Well, let me just show you the new approach here. The local ad and trust building content system that actually is raising the awareness of the other 99% of your market. And it starts with number 1 here at the top, the local ad. Now, this is a hyper targeted local Instagram ad. And what this does is it speaks to the 99% of your market who is completely unaware that they even have a problem. And now once they see this ad, what we're going to do is we're going to send them to number 2 here, which is our Instagram profile. And that's what's going to actually introduce them to the problem over here. So keep in mind, each of these numbers is corresponding with each of these stages of the awareness model. So the local ad is getting people in who are completely unaware. These are the 99% of the market that everyone else is ignoring. The second part is the Instagram profile. That's where we're going to introduce them to that problem. And then next, we're going to use something called trust building content to now present them with the solution. And now that they know the solution here, what we can do next is actually show them proof and show them results. And that's going to show them why we are the best option as a service provider. Lastly, number 5 is where we have full trust built. And now this is where we're going to present an offer to these most aware people because they've gone through each one of these stages already. And that's the key here. So like I mentioned, each one of these numbers corresponds with the actual stage of awareness, and they all serve a purpose. So this is important to understand because a lot of local business owners don't know that there's a difference between different stages of awareness. So maybe they just post ads or they just post random content all the time, and they're really only accomplishing one part of this. So if you're just posting on your Instagram profile right now, chances are this is the only thing that you're doing. But if you don't have any of these other stages, then there's not going to be a way for new people to actually find you with a local ad. There's not going to be a way to actually have somewhere to send these people if you haven't set up and optimized your Instagram profile. And again, if this is all you're doing here is the trust building content and you never have these 2 things, well, then you never have a way to get local people to actually find your Instagram profile to then start consuming this trust building content. And that's a problem because if there's no way to get new people in the first place, then you can post content literally every single day for years and years and years and not see any results because posting more content isn't what's going to solve the problem that you don't have a predictable way to get the other 99% of your market to actually find that content. So this is super important if you don't understand this, because if all you're doing right now is posting content here, and you don't have anything in place for these 2 things, then posting more content is not going to move the needle for you at all until you solve these initial problems. And the same thing happens for these last 2 parts. If you aren't actually showing people proof and showing them results from clients who are just like they are, then they're not going to be able to relate and actually see that you are capable of getting them that result that you're talking about. And they're not going to trust you enough to then actually buy from you at the end of this. So this is super, super important. That is why this new approach using local ads and trust building content is so effective, because it actually caters to how people buy in 2026. And this is why this is so important, because while everyone is just going after this 1% of the market right here, and again, it is so hard to draw with this mouse, but I'm doing the best I can. Because everyone is going after this part of the market, it is so competitive. But as soon as you start going after this other 99% up here, your job gets so much easier when it comes to marketing, when it comes to competing with everyone else, because you don't have to play by the same rules that everyone else is playing by down here. using the scarcity tactics, using the discounts, using the promotional posts, all those things. Now you can just focus on educating your audience and educating your buyers and actually building trust with them to the point where they are coming to you inbound, because you're just putting out so much education and so much information and just free value to them that they actually feel like they owe you for that. And that's such a powerful thing. When you have leads that are coming to you inbound and they're already educated and you've walked them through each and every one of these stages just with your content and just with your ads, they're going to trust you so much when that conversation actually happens. So think about this as a long game too. Yes, you can still capture the most aware portion of the market using this strategy, but you're not excluding the other 99% like those other methods are. So that's the beauty of this, is that now you're capturing the entire market. You're capturing 100% of your local market by using this strategy, whereas everyone else is just going after that 1%. And that's what makes their cost per lead so high, because there's so much competition here. Everyone's fighting over the same piece of the market, and there's just a more effective way to do this in 2026. So that's the new approach in 2026 for the best local businesses that are actually winning right now, is that they're taking a different approach. And that's the key thing here, is just doing something different from what the other 99% of people are doing. Because if you want to have results that are different than everyone else, and you want to be in that top 1% as a business owner, then you have to play a different game, and you have to take a different approach, and you have to do things differently than what 99% of other people are doing. So if you can just understand that and realize that majority of people are just doing this, and if you want to stand out and get different results from what all the people down here are getting, then just do something different than what everyone else is doing. And I know that sounds so simple, but there's a reason why. And I'm guilty of this myself. I will always try and overcomplicate things, especially things that are so simple. There's always that part of me that says, it can't be that simple. There's no way. But that's what everybody says. And then they try to overcomplicate it. They try to do all these other crazy things, whereas the answer is right there in front of you. It really is this simple. So if you're still following along with me here and I haven't lost you yet, and you're wondering, okay, well, what does this even look like? Well, this is the shift. If you can start thinking of your online presence as your new digital storefront, then your Instagram profile is no different than a physical store. So if your store looks something like this right now, meaning your online presence is just scattered, it's confusing. This looks like a grocery store for mice. Like, it looks so small in there. The aisles look tiny. What is this, pasta or something on the floor? What does this even say? Is this English? The whole point here is like, this is what people are going to say when they see you online and it's just disorganized and it's confusing. Do you think they're going to walk in there and be ready to buy immediately? They're going to walk in and say, what is that? They probably won't even walk in, right? Because of how confusing and how disorganized it is. Whereas on the flip side, if you can look clean and presentable and trustworthy, then people are going to be willing to walk right in and just start browsing around and just seeing what your business is all about. Because again, we aren't trying to sell things to people right off the bat. We just want to invite them in and actually give them an opportunity to build trust with them and just show them how we can actually help them and just educate them on all our processes and everything that we do and what makes us different, so that they see the value in us and they come to us when they're ready to buy, instead of trying to attract people in that are price shoppers or that are just looking for a quick discount. And you have a much harder time justifying a higher price point for your services to that crowd of people. So just keep in mind, the quality of marketing that you put out is going to determine the quality of buyer that you attract. So if your marketing looks something like this right now, then there should be no surprise as to the type of client that you are attracting. But if you're able to actually present yourself in a clean and professional way, then the chances of you attracting a higher caliber of buyer are much higher. And if you're wondering why I'm talking so fancy, it's because when I look at this picture, I just immediately feel an elevated experience, right? That's amazing, just to show the power of branding and perception, and how you actually present yourself makes a much greater impact on people than you think. So just knowing this, that is the reality, whether we want to accept it or not, that is the reality. So if we're just able to play by these rules and we're able to present our business in a presentable way, like this picture does up here, then it's going to create that effect on the people that show up and actually see that storefront. They're going to immediately associate this with a higher caliber of service, with a higher price point, and with an overall better quality of service. So this has a very, very strong effect. And just remember, if you walk into a store and you see something like this, the same thing happens online with your buyers that see you. So just make sure that you're putting effort into the actual marketing content that you're putting out, because it's directly going to determine the type of buyer that you attract back in. And basic psychology tells us that people love to go shopping and they love to buy things, but what they don't like is feeling like they're being sold to. And the same principle can be applied to our marketing and specifically to our advertising. So your local ad is your first impression to your buyers, and it's like the sign sitting out front of your store that's inviting people in. And it doesn't need to sell them right away. It just needs to invite the right people in. That's the important part there. We don't want a sign that's just attracting price shoppers or attracting random people who aren't actually interested in buying. We want to be very specific about the sign that we put out, and mainly in terms of the quality of the sign and then the actual content and messaging that is on that sign. And like I mentioned, that is what's going to determine who actually ends up inside your store. And then once they're inside, your content is what's going to build trust with them. And then once they're ready, that's when they'll buy. And if this sounds complicated or it sounds complex, I promise you it's very, very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Let's take Grant, for example. He put $7,700 in and generated $150,000 out, resulting in a 19x return on ad spend. That's pretty impressive for Grant there. Congratulations to him. And like I mentioned, he did not overcomplicate anything. All he did was follow a very simple system right here. He used one hyper-targeted local Instagram ad to drive people to his Instagram profile, and then he filled his Instagram profile with trust-building content. So as you can see here, all these videos have Grant in there just talking directly to the camera. So he's educating his buyers, he's answering frequently asked questions, and he's just building trust with those people until the point where they're ready to have a conversation with him and actually become a buyer. So that's all Grant did. And these are the type of the results he got. And I don't want you to just hear it from me. Let's just take it from Grant himself. This is a screenshot from a voice message that Grant sent me. Let me just go ahead and pull up the voice message so you can hear it yourself from Grant. So here's the message here. I'm going to play it for you so we can listen to what Grant had to say.
Hey, I just ran the numbers. I spent $7,700 this year with you and ads. And that turned into $150,000 worth of new revenue. Thank you. It just blows my mind. You were right. I had to turn them off. I had to stop it. I was like, oh no. So you gave me some really good problems. Thank you.
There you have it. Take it from Grant. He had to turn the ads off. He was thanking me for the problems that he had. And I don't want to take credit for this. Grant is the one that put in all the work, and he just trusted the process and let the process do the heavy lifting for him. So it's really that simple, you guys. You don't have to overcomplicate this. These are the type of results that you can see when you actually implement and take action on these strategies. And keep in mind, Grant is also going after the 99% of the market that everyone else is not going after. So it's a lot easier for him to get results following this type of strategy because he doesn't nearly have as much competition as everybody else who's going after that 1%. So that's really what sets this strategy apart from everybody else, is that they are all going after the 1% of the marketplace. Whereas if you can be like Grant here and just change your focus and change where you put your effort into, you can get way better results for way less ad spend. What other strategy do you know that would generate you a 19x return on ad spend? So for every $1 Grant puts in, he gets $19 out. Every $100 he puts in, he gets $19,000 out. Again, if you know of any other methods or strategies that can generate higher returns than this, then please let me know down in the comments, because I'm not against any other strategies. I'm just saying these are the type of results that you can get following a strategy like this. And if you know of a better strategy, let me know, because I want to try it myself too. So hopefully you can understand that and you can see that Grant just implemented, he took action, and these are the type of results he got. So kudos to him. Congratulations, Grant. Enjoy it. You deserve it because you put the work in. So moving on here, this is the big shift. We're not trying to just sell in every single post, right? Our ads are not to just sell things. We're just using them to invite people into our ecosystem where we can actually build trust with them and inform them and educate them about what we do first. And keep in mind, like I talked about earlier, high value buyers do not respond to pressure or sales tactics or urgency tactics or anything like that, because what high value buyers are looking for is confidence and clarity. So think about that. If you know that a person who values a high quality service and a premium service, they aren't attracted by discount offers or by limited time offers or anything like that. All they want to know is that you can confidently solve their problem and you have a clear strategy to actually solve that problem. If you can establish these two things, confidence and clarity, that is when you will attract high value buyers. And this right here is the most classic example I can show you. So the $500 client, this is what he says. He says, I just feel as though with this investment I'm about to make in you, that we should understand how our lives are about to change. And I need results and you need to bring them. And I'm entrusting you with our livelihood and our lives. That's your $500 client right there. Now let's take a look at the $50,000 client. What does he say? Money sent. Thanks. He didn't even put a period at the end. He doesn't have time for that. He just paid you $50,000. He's not going to put a period at the end of his sentence. He's just glad that you solved his problem because he was confident that you could do it and you showed him clearly how you could do it for him. That is what a $50,000 client conversation looks like versus a $500 client up here. And for the sake of this video, this right here is your 1% buyer, whereas this down here could be the other 99% if you understand how to actually appeal to this type of buyer. So that's what's going to set you aside here, is just understanding the difference here and not putting out heavily discounted services or limited time offers or promotional posts and expecting to attract this kind of buyer, because those things, like I mentioned, typically are what will attract this type of person. So just knowing that is a complete game changer. Understand that your ads are just an invitation. They're just getting people to find you so that they can actually build that know, like, and trust with you. And they're not necessarily a sales pitch. Now, there isn't time and place to actually use your ads to make direct offers. And I will be making another video about that here in the near future. Just understand that we don't want to jump right to the bottom of these stages of awareness and hit people up here with a direct offer. So someone who is unaware, someone who is problem aware, someone who is solution aware or product aware, they might not be ready for a direct offer, but what you can do is actually, like we talked about already, bring people down these stages to the point where this is where you would make that direct offer. Because when somebody is most aware of all of these things, they know they have a problem, they know that there are solutions out there, and they know that your service is one of those solutions. That is when you would present your direct offer. So keep that in mind, very important to understand. So if you want to start winning in 2026, this is exactly how I would do it as a local business. Let's start with what to not do first. Number one is don't do the hard selling to cold strangers, okay? There's a time and place for this. This is really like asking someone to marry you on the first date. So just please build trust with people, actually get them to know, like, and trust your business before you put an offer in front of them to buy or to book a call or just to take any action. Just build some trust first. The second thing is just assuming that people need you and they need your services. Because again, if we remember the 5 stages of awareness, most people don't even know that they have a problem yet. 99% of the market does not even know that they have a problem. So start there and just make people aware of their problem and then work yourself down from there. That would be a more effective way to do it. And then lastly here, if you're serious about winning, then you cannot treat your marketing like a checklist in 2026 because it's getting more and more competitive. More people are marketing on these platforms and they're using local ads and they're using content to market their services. So if you're treating it like a checklist, it's going to be hard to compete against everyone else who's actually taking it seriously and investing their time and their energy into doing this. So keep that in mind. And the things that I would absolutely do, number one is running ads that create curiosity. And this is the key word here, curiosity. We just want to pique people's interest. We want to get them interested and get them to check out more information and to learn more. And that is where a bulk of the selling will happen. And when I say selling, I don't mean actually convincing or persuading people to buy. I just mean you're going to educate them and build trust with them and get them to know you and like you and trust you until they are ready to buy. So we're just helping move them along that process. The second thing is just building trust with content. So I do talk about that trust building content piece a lot. And this is so powerful because this is actually reframing how people think about scenarios. So it's just helping them understand and think about things from a different perspective. And when you can be the one to help change their beliefs or shift their mindset about certain services or about certain questions or objections that they would have as to why they don't need your service, then it's much more powerful when you can actually educate people and show them the value in what it is that you provide. So I would absolutely focus on doing that. And lastly is just creating that digital storefront. So I would try not to think of this as like a billboard or a brochure, because if you can just educate and relate with people and actually guide your buyers, then that's what's going to make them feel like they do know you and like you and trust you. And that is what ultimately leads to more sales. So that's the key here to actually start winning in 2026. So with all that being said, I hope you did find this helpful. If you want to start winning in 2026, just start here. Implement those things that we just talked about. Try this out, see the type of results that you can get for your business. And if you're the type of person that wants some more hand-holding or some step-by-step help on how to actually implement this for your business, what I want you to do is just click the first link down in the description of this video. It's going to bring you to my Instagram here at Nick Rizzo, and just send me a message with the word pickle. I know it sounds funny, but just send me that message. I will see this, and then we can chat and just continue the conversation and see if we are a good fit to help you out. So like I've said before, I'm Nick Rizzo from Riz Media Company. And if you want to see the exact 3 steps to take over your local market in 2026, just click the video on screen right up here, and I'll see you there.